Now, he played this little thing, some basketball. They challenged each other. It was like the shirts versus the blouses, Charlie called it.
In '85, like, that's when Purple Rain came out and Prince was the
We used to go out all the time to this one hot spot in LA. I'd have my little table, Prince has his table. It was Prince and I, my wife, Terry Copley.
Prince came in.
Eddie Murphy and his crew came.
He had this other cat named Mickey Free.
I knew Charlie and all of Eddie's crew. Prince would have people come up to his house after the club to hang to hear new records. We were sitting there.
He had a nice environment. We listened to the music.
Eddie Murphy, he brought a big boom box with his new song, Party All the Time.
Party all the time.
Party all the time.
Party all the time.
Punk Funk King Rick James was to find Eddie Murphy.
Well, he's got his own style. He has his own sound. I was scared when we first came here, but now I'm like this. Did you hear the record?
This bores me.
Prince said, let's play basketball. We went out to the court.
Red shoes or red top.
Prince had his club clothes on, yes.
You know we're gonna call this the shirts against the blouse.
Do you know that this little thing beat Charlie and them?
Shot after shot.
He said he was whipping all over the court. We couldn't stop him. I wouldn't even tell nobody that.
It was all over.
Out of nowhere, I just said, want some pancakes?
Took us in the house and served us pancakes.
And then went and made pancakes for him.
Well, I didn't make them, but we had pancakes.
Prince's cook, name was Randy, cooked us pancakes.
Oh, definitely.
And you got game?
Oh, definitely. And he don't.
Yeah, he really can play, man.
And be honest, it ain't that I'm that great. He's just so bad.
Yo, man, it's not shocking if a black man can play basketball.
That's a true story, by the way.
Can you imagine?
Pancakes.
That one incident in Los Angeles, I got accused for sicking some bodyguards on people.
USA Today and a lot of the papers, they're talking about Prince attacking a photographer at Carlos and Charlie's while the whole record industry is doing We're the World.
Like, there's Prince, but it seems no matter how hard the photographers try to take his picture, Prince makes a fast move through the crowd and heads for the darkest corner of the room.
Wally was with them, Wally Sanford, and Larry, the bodyguard. The guy was freaking huge.
My man tried to get in the car just to get a picture. All of a sudden, I'm in the midst of like chaos. You know, I'm in the midst of people acting like barbarians. That's going a bit too far.
Photographer said that he had been attacked. Police locked up Larry. So it wasn't just about Prince having this issue, but you also had our bodyguard who's on tour with us in jail. How to get him out.
It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Billy Crystal did an imitation of me that was hilarious, man. I am the world. Bruce Springsteen then would come in and try to get on my mic, and I would. Mr. T was there. I mean, to me, that's like hilarious. That, of course, that's not what it is, but you know.
Saturday, July 13th. The biggest names in music to help put an end to hunger. Live Aid, an all-star concert for African relief. Prince, Madonna, and a lot of surprises.
I did my part in giving my song, and that's where I shine the best in my atmosphere, where everyone's best like that.
I'm strongest in a situation where I'm surrounded by people I know.
They did that video specifically so that you could give something, and it's not happening enough. You've got to get on the phone. Don't go to the pub tonight. Stay in and give us the money. There are people dying now, so give me the money.
Bob Geldof, who coordinated the concert, called it pop music's ultimate day. Officials talked of nominating Geldof for the Nobel Peace Prize.
But what was really wonderful, because this is Madonna, and so she comes out, she does the thing with the Thompson Twins with us, she does her set, and the closing number for Live Aid is We Are the World. But it's like, I wasn't good enough to sing on the record, well, I'm not singing the finale. We Are the World, bang, she's gone with Sean Penn.
We're against hungry children. Our record stands tall. And there's just as much hunger here at home.
His Purple Majesty organized a food drive, which is expected to bring in 45,000 pounds of food. Why do the kids do it? Simple, because Prince asked them.
We'll do everything we can, but y'all got to understand that a flower that has water will grow, and a man misunderstood will go.
His royal badness is leaving tonight. Today's final performance sold out. So whether he's the Prince of Perversion, as some have alleged, or the Purple God of Love, one thing's for certain, though, Prince will be out of here like a purple comet. Frank Mann, Channel 5 Eyewitness News.
Now that Purple Rain has made you such a huge superstar, do you worry about the possibilities of a backlash against you?
I'm not afraid of a backlash. I don't live in a prison. I haven't built any walls around myself. I'm just like anyone else. and I don't really consider myself a superstar.
He became such a superstar. It was almost something you couldn't believe that his rise. It was meteoric.
It only lasts so long. You got to come down. It was just saying, when you're on the top, man, you're a duck, and everybody's going to shoot at you. If you don't believe me, ask Prince.
Purple Rain and Thriller, that whole situation, like a virgin, never going to capture what we all did in the beginning.
He really thought that people would be done with Purple Rain.
It's one of those kind of records where there's the world before, there's the world after.
I don't know how you go from being a poor kid to suddenly being a multimillionaire.
And again, with Minnesota, just having the space and the time and the mental peacefulness.
I will always live in Minneapolis. It's so cold, it keeps the bad people out. After the past 2 years or so, it's become quite strange.
He would tell me, I'm coming by to get you. We're going to go out to the club tonight. All right, yeah. We're going to be hanging out with Prince. I'm going to get me some crumbs. He show up 12:30, the club closed at 1. And we drive down, walk in the club, 3 songs. All right, let's go. And he drive me all the way back home. Drop me off. I'm like, this is a waste of time. I would think that, but I wouldn't say it to him.
I go out, I feel strange in some of these places when I say, wow, this sure is different. When the film first came out, a lot of tourists came there. We got bothered a lot. Oh, there he is. Before, it was just like, it was a fun thing. All of us was down there. I mean, there was a lot of us. That's memories. It's like, oh, wow.
Imagine you're in the studio. You've been at Sunset Sound with Prince for 24 hours. Common was 24 hours, but not uncommon was 48.
2 days. I was up nonstop, where I kept working nonstop.
Yeah, he had a great working man's ethic. I don't know how the man did it.
I've never seen him sleep. I go to sleep, he'd be awake. I wake up, he'd be awake. And I'm like, this dude ever sleep? Damn. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how he did it.
Music is what keeps me awake. I've been in the studio for 20 hours. I'll be on the chair and I'll be falling asleep. I'll be asleep, actually, but I'll still tell the engineer what cut I've done. I use engineers in shift because I start something, I like to just go all the way through. Once I started the process, that I have to complete it.
He turns around, he comes back in, and he says, fresh tape, meaning I've got a song in my head, we're going again. If he starts a song, he won't leave the studio until it's finished. So you just know we've got another 24 to go.
That was him all the time.
A while back, I had an experience that changed me, made me think differently about what I wrote, why I wrote, how I acted towards people.
For the Rick James tour, the Fire It Up tour. Oh man, a rivalry made in heaven or hell.
They had a for real competition thing. Rick was really starting to hate the pressure that Prince was putting on him. That little motherfucker come up on my stage.
Rick tried to have some camaraderie.
He would try to entice Prince to use drugs after the shows and things.
Prince wasn't into it.
It got to the point where Prince was like, hey, you know what? I can do this better than you. Rick was like, no, you can't. Next thing you know, the F-bombs was flying, they was hating each other, and it was just chaos out there.
I'm not kidding. Rick was flagrantly smoking marijuana on stage. 2 people dressed in joint costume, police down in Birmingham, Alabama. And so you had Prince, completely anti-drug, and you had Rick, who was probably snorting coke backstage while they said this to his face. I witnessed the police saying, nah, Rick, can't have you lighting up the marijuana on stage. We've been hearing about it from the other communities where you've been playing. And we're just warning you, we're going to have to arrest you if you do that tonight. He didn't listen, and they didn't arrest him either because they knew if they tried, there'd be a riot. As Rick James said, cocaine's a powerful drug. Prince was dead set against that.
He would actually sometimes say, what are you doing? Why are you drinking? You don't need to drink.
Drug usage was strictly forbidden. He was dead set against anybody in the band drinking even. I know he remained substance-free for many years, and then I kept hearing some rumors that maybe not.
I'm going to choose my words very carefully so that I say only what I know.
When he was around me, I'm putting it out there for everybody. They can say what the they want.
And he was experimenting.
He didn't do no drugs when I was around him.
He experimented with drugs.
I did not see it. I honestly, right here, God strike me dead. I've never seen him do drugs.
He started experimenting with some stuff, but I don't know any details, and it's not my business.
There was a person in his circle who suggested that this would be a good idea for him.
I was the get high guy. Like I said, if I felt like I need to get high, that's I'd split and go do my thing because, he just wasn't the person to do that around.
Sometimes I probably wouldn't get to 3 drinks before he would slide my drink away. He'd be like, "You cool." He was in psychological pain, and he tried it more than once, probably.
Because earlier, like during the dirty mind period, there were times when I would go into fits of depression and call people to come help me out of it.
Every now and then he would want to get high. He kept wanting to do mushrooms. I wasn't into mushrooms. I said, okay, I'll get some mushrooms, man. One night, we do these mushrooms, and then, we go to the club, and he started acting kind of weird, you know what I mean? Next thing I know, the dude's sitting down on the floor and stuff, and I was sitting next to him. I was like, you think we should probably get up out of here, man? So he's sitting there, and we talked a little bit and finally get back up, and guess what? Back to the studio to cut some music.
The thing was, is that the feeling, you know how you're really afraid and you feel like this, and that's fear. Do you know how when you know you're dreaming, but you're trying to awaken yourself? I was having a bad dream of all these people going like that at my faces. They weren't people, they were just like almost animals. So I said, okay, I'm awake. I woke myself up and I knew I was awake, but I still saw them. It was hard to hang. It took me 2 days to get through it. But this time I said, I'm just going to watch and see what happens. A lot of different things happened that I'll say at a later date.
No, I didn't plan on touring for a while. There's so many other things to do.
Welcome to the International Midnight Funk Association. All over the metro, Michigan, and the planet Earth, thousands and thousands of members. You, and you show solidarity with the MFA. If you're in bed, get ready to take it from the pillar to the potty. If you do not have your MFA ID card, it's a shame. Send a letter. Ain't nobody bad like you. This edition of the Midnight Funk Association is now being called to order.
Mojo.
Yeah.
Guess what?
I don't think words can describe how Detroit feels about Prince. Let's talk about Around the World in a Day, one of the greatest albums.
My favorite.
Tunes like Around the World in a Day, Paisley Park. What type of mood were you in when you recorded that album?
I sort of had a FU attitude. This one's just for all the purple people, and I think they'll understand. I was making something for myself and my fans. The people who supported me through the years, I wanted to give them something.
He didn't wait around.
I record very fast. It goes even quicker now that Wendy and Lisa helped me.
That's why the 2 albums sound completely different.
He really started using the group. Before then, he usually did it all himself.
It was done before we even hit the first show of Purple Rain tour. Yeah. He was already bored with Purple Rain.
Out of boredom, I think I just try to change.
But Purple Rain is something that people want to examine. I look back. He wasn't very good at looking back, so
he just wanted to put it out.
I'm not going to do any videos or any singles.
Because I wanted this album to be listened to and judged, critiqued as a whole.
He wanted to play more and more of that songs live. They'll find it. It was just going to appear.
He didn't want there to be any single from it. He just wanted to put it out and let radio people find their own song to play. And I think he was talked into doing the video for Raspberry Beret. He said to me in that video, he said, I hate my hair. I said, yeah, I've got the Hulk's hair. The bangs. He hated the bangs.
Prince was getting more and more people into the gang.
While those things were going on, we were in the studio writing. That's when he met my brother and Wendy's brother, and recorded a bunch of stuff together.
Lisa and I had gotten David, Lisa's brother, cassette tape of a song that him and my brother Jonathan had recorded called Around the World in a Day.
It was written by Jonathan Melvoin and David Coleman, the brothers of Wendy and Susanna and Lisa.
And it was a demo tape. They wrote a couple of new songs, and one of the songs was Around the World in a Day.
And we listened to it in the car, and we ran into rehearsal and made Prince come out into the car and say, "You have to hear this."
And we played it for Prince, and it just blew his mind.
Prince listened, and he goes, "Do you think he'd give it to me?" I said, "You better talk to him."
I took the tape out of my car. What's his phone number or something?
And we cut the song at rehearsal with the whole band on stage, including David and Jonathan.
That's when you started to see more and more people participating in recording activities.
He was tapping into Wendy and Lisa.
He really relied on us. He would send a master with a scratch vocal, a piano idea, and say, "Finish this."
A member of his staff would box it up and send that package on the next flight to Los Angeles. Someone who worked for his management would go out to LAX, get that tape, and drive it to Sunset Sound.
Again, Sunset Sound, we lived there. Prince was at another studio flying back and forth. Pop Life, he said, "I just need you to mix that song." When it goes pop, 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 that's cut tape, not a DJ and I'm going to scratch this in. You take a razor blade and you just start cutting all the pieces and taping them to the wall, marking them of what part it was. There was a wall full of cut parts of the song. We would tape it back together, and that's how I edited the song. And I think it was with Susan Rogers.
So when you had a song like Pop Life, the focus is going to be on the words, the arrangement. You have to frame those lyrics so that the listener's attention goes where you want it to go. That takes a little bit more time.
Around the World in a Day is one of my favorite albums. It didn't connect the way Purple Rain did at all.
Didn't come out of the gate right.
Kind of lost.
Around the World in a Day is a funky album. Live, it's even funkier.
It did not win back his core R&B audience, his soul audience.
I don't think I left my funk roots to begin with anywhere along the line.
Didn't receive the attention in the press that Prince thought it deserved.
People think it's not half as powerful as Purple Rain or 1999.
That really stung. That hurt him badly.
You know how easy it would have been to open Around the World in a Day with a guitar solo that's on the end of Let's Go Crazy, just put it in a different key? That would have shut up everybody that said it's not going to be as powerful. I didn't want to make an album that is like that.
Around the World in a Day comes from an experience. I think that we enlightened him a little bit more about the Beatles.
The influence wasn't the Beatles at all. I don't know how that would hang today.
He was more making the movies, and he was getting his head into other things.
But the problem is, we had a hit record with Screams of Passion. Paul's 18 years old with a hit record. He was this, beautiful 18-year-old kid. He could look like David Bowie, could croon, could sing. Prince had sent him out to LA, put him through acting school, singing lessons. But the problem is, he's not under contract with Princeton. He had Paul out there unchaperoned. Back in those days, if you weren't under contract, you were fair game. If you were 18-year-old kid and somebody offers you $250,000, what are you going to do?
That's a foolish question. Next.